We are here at the first Patreon assembly, and I am with Shayla Maddox right now. Talk to me a little bit about, you do things with light, you do things with shapes, there's so many different words going on. What exactly is it that you do with paintings, bringing them to life?
Well, I like to call it mixed media because I work with a lot of things other than just paints. One of the primary ingredients in my art is phosphorescent pigments, which actually makes the work glow in the dark, so that the painting actually shows color no matter what time of day it is, no matter what the lighting conditions are. I think that's really cool and really important. And I paint circles because circles to me are just the shape of the universe and life, and I find them really endlessly beautiful. So I haven't found any tiring of that shape for me.
It sounds like there's a lot of science involved in that as well, not just art for you to get it to glow in the dark and also all times of day for that to light up. How did you figure that out?
Well, actually, one of my main inspirations for making art is finding that intersection between art and science. I think that place is really beautiful. I think that science alone is actually really extraordinary and poetic. And so to be able to do my best to create that kind of thing on a piece of paper or canvas is really quite an honor.
One of the things I love so much about Patreon is that I get to be my own boss, and that's really important because sometimes when you are pushing boundaries and you're working outside of the lines like you are, you can't find somebody that wants to hire you or trusts you in that way. What does Patreon mean to you, and how have you been able to utilize it so that you can do exactly what you love?
Oh gosh, well, I mean, in a very practical sense, the moment I started Patreon was actually the last year I did a regular art show selling my own art, because Patreon has come in and replaced my entire art show income. So whereas normally I would have to find spaces, run my own shows, or give over a commission to a gallery, I'm able to do everything myself now, keep all the money, and run everything the way that I want it. But most importantly, the thing that a gallery never provided me that Patreon does is that really close personal connection with each one of my fans. And I get to talk to everybody individually, and they give me feedback. And I feel like I have relationships with my patrons in a way that before Patreon just didn't exist in the world.
Why does having relationships with your patrons matter to you as an artist? What does that look like?
Oh, you know what? That's the whole reason I think that I'm an artist. Just being able to see how something that I'm doing, which feels small when I'm making it in my studio, affects somebody in the outside world so deeply. And the conversations that I've had with people and some of the things that they've said to me about how a simple painting I've made has made them think really deep spiritual thoughts and be inspired and have hope on their own. I mean, you really can't put a price on that. It's quite wonderful.
I'm going to ask you to use the science part of your brain for a second here. So be a scientist and look into the future.
Right.
Where do you see Patreon going in 5 years, 10 years from now? Do you think that this is where creators are going to be using their primary platform, or what do you think is going to happen with Patreon?
I hope so. I mean, my dream, I've been on Patreon for the entire 6 years it's been here, and my dream about it is that it will help usher in a creative class. Not necessarily a system in which there are famous people and struggling artists, but a system where we're all working together and we're all able to make a functional, comfortable living as artists. And ideally, whereas a lot of us grew up being told to have a backup plan if we wanted to be an artist, I'm hoping that kids today will be able to look at this creative class and say, I want to be an artist. And everyone around them will say, that's a great idea. That's a path we totally support. So that would be amazing.
I'm completely with you. Well, you guys are watching AfterBuzz TV. Thank you so much to Shayla, and we'll buzz you later.